Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hello, fellow traders around the world. I hope we're having a great weekend. We're going to look at some Bitcoin and gold overview ahead of the week, June 14th through 18th, based on popular demand. So we're going to look at what is going on in BTC, and then what the technical overview of BTC or Bitcoin is, which in turn kind of like flows with the remaining crypto world. And then we're going to quickly look at gold and see what we could be expecting to happen in the markets in this coming week. So let's start. Before that, let us put out a disclaimer. You need to understand that there is risk in trading, and you want to ensure that you're trading with risk capital only. You don't want to trade money you can afford to lose. And this is for educational purposes only. You want to make your own investment advice. This is for educational purposes to assist you. Okay, what we're going to quickly look at is on BTC, and then after that, we'll quickly follow it up with XAUUSD, which is on gold. So I'm going to be hopping over to share my chat screen with you, and then let's do that. So I'm going to share my chat screen here. And let us look at exactly, let's start with BTC. So for some of you who followed me a while back then at these highs, I was calling the tops on this pair on BTC because of the price structure. So when we had this break of trend line, I became bearish more or less in the market. I wasn't selling, but I wasn't interested in buying either because the momentum has shifted. You could see how, so if we go back all the way, you could see how the price has been incredibly bullish, making serious rally, almost going to the moon, right? But then you notice how we start to bulls begin to tire out and the highs begin to get shorter. So you notice how the previous high is getting closer, it's getting shorter and shorter. Notice how this high is farther, and then compared to this one, and compared to this one, you can see how it's getting smaller and smaller. And we had this trend line here, which was keeping price afloat. Now, the moment we had this trend line break back in April, it seems this break below the trend line here, that is when buyers lost momentum. Now, not just did we get a break of trend line, notice how we formed a lower low. Remember, in an uptrend, just like this is a classic uptrend, we're seeing the price making higher low, higher low, higher low, as it is also making higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. Now, when price broke below this trend line, right, you could see how price then proceeds to make a new low, which is lower than the previous one, which indicates that bears that we're shifting into a kind of a downtrend. And sure enough, the confirmation of that would be for price to make a new lower high. And you see where that happens. So we have this high here, which then began the solid bear run. Now let's clear up some of this on our screen so we have more room to play around with. So you see where we had this. So when we had this retest and we had this rejection, I did call out to some members that we could see BTC retest previous low, and then we could see it all the way back down to 30K level. And I was even anticipating down here at 24K. Now that is not entirely off the card, but you could see buyers actually coming out to defend this level here. You could see how it served as support all through here. You could see how it was support here. Now you can see how price bounced up from it here again. Now, this level needs to hold if buyers are going to push price high upward. So you could, depending on how you're looking to trade the market, you could use this as an advice. You could use this as a what do you call it, indicator. You want to see price break this trend line here, this bearish trend line here. Price needs to break this trend line if we're going to see price move up any higher. Now, let us zoom in a little bit and look at what we could expect from the market. Now, if I go to the 4-hour time frame, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. You can see how this area here is, you see how price reacted to this area, and this was back on Friday. You see how buyers are struggling to get above that level. Now, however, buyers are also defending this 30K area support. You can see how the market is also resisting going below that level. So one way or the other, because this is the terminal pattern, one way or the other, price is going to break out. So what I mean is, if we, because the pattern is kind of like it's a triangle, you could see that at some point the price is going to have to break out one way or the other. It cannot keep bouncing on forever because it keeps getting smaller. So my decision or my stance on this would be, if we see a break above this trend line, I could be looking to be bullish up all to this way. So this will be first resistance. A break up and close above here will expose 45K area. Now, on the other hand, if we do get a break below the 30K level, then there's nothing really stopping BTC from going all the way back down to 24K. So if we get a break below 30K, there's really nothing stopping us to see 24K in BTC in the next coming weeks. However, what will determine this would be what happens on this trend line. Now, if you look at this, right, you could notice something like an inverse head and shoulder. So this could be your left shoulder. So like this could be your left shoulder, right? And then your head. And then we could then have something like a right shoulder. So a break of this would then, if you do the measured objective, the measured objective would be the length from here is what we'll probably expect BTC to rally if you get the break above this neckline. So we're looking at a potential head and shoulders. Let me just draw that out for you. So we could have something like this, where price forms a reversal pattern, something like this, and that could then proceed. So if we see, as long as the market does not go down lower than the head, then and we get a break above this trend line, so we get a break above this trend line, then our measured objective would be the length of this area from this side. So if we bring up like a rectangle to kind of like measure the areas, let's zoom in a little bit. Let's measure from this bottom here or to this top here, and let's clone that. That would be what we are looking for. So if we do get a break above that, you can see BTC rally all the way up. You can see how that is almost close to here. But this setup or this technical pattern is only going to be complete if we get a break above this neckline. So this neckline is key, and then we could see Bitcoin rise all the way to 44, 45K area. Now that is what I look out for in BTC in this week, in the coming week. The next part I want to quickly touch on is gold. So gold is also a quite interesting one. So XAU, not XUA, XAUUSD is one that we would quickly look at. Gold has been on its tear, right? So if I go to the daily charts, right here, you would see that we have this setup, right? So we have this more or less channel, this bearish channel, which is this flag. You call this a bullish flag because you could see how this is more like a flag pattern, but this was a long bounce. It was trading between this downward channel. Now you see where we had the break above this channel just around here. So this is where we had the break above this channel here. This double bottom here was what triggered this whole move. And so I've been bullish all the way down from this area where we had all the way down from this area where we had this double bottom setup, and I've been bullish on gold. Now, if you look at the chart closely, you will see that we are trading very close to a trend line support, right? And notice that we had this break of trend line, this channel or this flag or whatever it is you want to look at it, and then we'll rallied up. However, we'll see how price is beginning to stall a little. And you can see how price is on this trend line. Now, this trend line is key as to what happens to gold this week of that we are entering. So what you want to look at is, let's even go down to the 4-hour time frame. So if you go down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see how that area has been there's been a clear. You see, this is where it started. We had the bounce here. We had another one here. We also had a rejection from here. And you can see how we are all through this area. So if we zoom in at current price, you see how we're really hogging this level. Remember, this level here, so let's take this off. This level here is a range. So it could be something like this. Let's clone that up. And let's just, okay, yeah. Now, what we're looking for this week is this level needs to hold for this bullish momentum to continue. Now, it doesn't mean if it doesn't hold, it will not continue. Remember, markets could only be doing something like this. Remember, the markets could break below, break below this area and then come back to retest the backside of this breakout and then proceed to rally up, because gold looks like it wants to go higher. Gold looks like it wants to go higher. And in patterns like this, when a pattern like this is broken, there's actually a bullish, patterns like this actually are bullish indicators. So when we have a setup where the market forms a downward channel like this and breaks the upside, we are likely going to see price move all the way back to challenge the highs. So you can see buy go back to challenge the highs, but that's not going to happen in one swift move. So we're going to, the idea is to figure out how to trade this properly and how to trade it to our best advantage. Now, we want to make sure that we're getting in at good entries and want to make sure that price action is confirming, and so that we can trade with good confirmation. So what I want to see on gold, or what I would like to see, is for this trend line to hold. Now, if this trend line hold and we get some kind of a rejection, then we could see gold continue to move up. However, if that happens, you would want to pay attention to a trend line. So you want to pay attention to this sort of move, because I like to see a trend line break. So if we have that happens, I want to see the market break above this trend line, and then the backside of this trend line would serve as my confirmation. So when price breaks above, we could then find something like this. My target would come at 1950 area, so just close to this previous highs here back in. You could see it back here in January. You could also see it back here in November of 2020. So this highs and this highs is where I'm looking to take profits, and then we'll see what happens after that. So for the week, what I'm looking out, because this definitely has to break out one way. There's no second guessing. It cannot stall forever because of the terminal pattern as well. The market has to break out one way or the other. So all I'm going to just do, or what I'll be looking out for, is to see how the market reacts. If we get a break below, I'm actually not interested in selling gold. So if we get a break below, what I'll be doing is play the patience game, and I'll be waiting to see where the market finds support. It could find support here, could find support here, or maybe on the backside of this trend line. So we can have a situation where the market bounce and finds support, and then I might be looking for buying some kind of crowning formation as a bullish indicator to look to buy the market back up. So it's all about waiting for the market to decide and then following the market in its decision. So both on BTCUSD, and on XAUUSD, the market is definitely going to do something this week, and I'm looking to see how the market reacts to that, and then I'll look to trade the market in line with the flow of the dollar. Okay, so I hope this helps you. I hope this analysis helps us as we look to engage in the week and hope to capture a lot of profits in the markets. Want to stay patient. Make sure you're using proper risk management, because risk management is the holy grail in trading. And then you would be good as long as you trade according to your system. You want to do what is comfortable by you, or you want to ensure that you are trading a system that is comfortable by you and managing your risks properly. So that'll be all from me, guys. Until the next training, I'll see you. Stay safe, and then have a good day. Bye.